Welcome back, my foamers and foamettes. Today I have 7 tips to improve your aim. So tip number 1, motion controls or sticks. Which one is better? If you don't know what motion controls are, that's where you use the controller to aim. You can go left and right with the stick, but you can't go up and down. You have to tilt your controller to aim, or move it left or right, whatever you need to do. You use your controller to aim. This is something that Splatoon players use. And so anyone who plays Splatoons might come over to Foamstars and just use motion controls because it's natural. However, that doesn't mean it's better. The reason why motion controls are better in Splatoon, and yes, I have Splatoon, I have the DLC, I have amiibos, I spent hours into that game. So I just want to say that before y'all be like, you don't even know what you're talking about. No, I do. When you're playing Splatoon, the maps are more dense, everything is closer, and Foamstars is wider. So in Splatoon, it's easier to use motion controls. On top of that, the Joy-Cons on Nintendo Switch are not good for precision aiming. The sticks are too small. They don't have that much range when it comes to precision. That's one of the reasons why most of the games on Nintendo Switch and even Wii, right back in the day, that's one of the reasons why it's dealt with motion controls. That's their niche. That's what they like to do. When we're talking about Xbox and PlayStation, these controllers are designed for precision movement. This is one of the reasons why you might hear that motion controls are more accurate, but when you have a controller that's not accurate in general, motion controls are going to be more accurate. So in my opinion, if you're playing Foamstars and you're not used to motion controls, I don't suggest using them. They don't improve your aim despite what anyone has to say. If you're playing Splatoon, yes, it's more accurate, but in Foamstars, that is not the case. However, if you do want to turn motion controls on and give them a go, what you want to do is go to your options, go to controls, scroll all the way down, and you'll see motion sensor. Turn that on and your motion controls will be activated. I'm going to turn mine off. I was just turning it on for the demonstration. Tip number 2, sensitivity. So we already understand that there's a sensitivity going up, down, and left and right. But there's another sensitivity setting that you might not even know was active, and that's the sensitivity for aiming your shots. Let me demonstrate. So you have the left and right, right? You see how fast that is. Now, if I start shooting, you'll see it slow down. So here we go. You see what I mean? This game has a setting that will slow down your aiming when you are shooting someone. Not only is it already hard to shoot things because you're shooting projectiles in this game, it's not hit scan. You're shooting something that players can dodge, but your aiming is also being slowed down because you are consistently holding the trigger when you shoot. So the best way to get around this is going to your settings, going to control, and go all the way down to camera sensitivity during shots. I recommend putting it on 10, but it is your taste. I would definitely say between 7 and 10 for sure. So play around with that, see what it's like. The other thing I want to talk about is the up and down, left to right sensitivity. So if we go up here, you'll see the same setting, right? I think 2 and 2 is great. So for me personally, 2, 2, and then have the aiming when you're shooting on 10. That is perfect for me. But fiddle with these settings. When you feel comfortable, then fiddle with the camera sensitivity during shots. You have to figure out your up, down, left, right before you figure out the camera sensitivity, because that will be factored in afterward. So for me, my camera is not slowing down, and this is my typical speed when I play the game anyway. You see? So it's not, if someone's moving, I'm not like slowing down to shoot while they're just zooming away. My cursor can follow that character. So this is why I highly recommend fiddling with those settings first, and then fiddling with the sensitivity while you're shooting. Once you figure that out, you'll realize how much easier it is to aim. The third thing I want to talk about is don't let the guide fool you. Now you might be thinking, Poppin', that makes no sense. I mean, the guide is there to guide you, but the guide is literally what it says, a guide. It's not actually accurate. It's just there to help you see where you're shooting. What do I mean by don't let it fool you? Well, what you want to keep in mind is that you have an arc. Every weapon in the game has an arc. It goes up, then it comes down, right? What you want to do is pay attention to the front of the arc, because the arc closest to your character is going to be the most accurate. If I shoot like this, you'll notice it actually goes exactly where I want it to go, right? But when I start moving, the only thing that's going to stay accurate is going to be the arc close to my character. So check this out. As you see, my foam is actually sliding across the ground, whereas at the tip of the arc, like we're closer to my character, it actually stays in the exact same spot, more or less, right? It doesn't go that far away from the line. This is why it's more important to aim for the first part of that arc as much as possible instead of relying on the guide at the end. This is a big reason on why players miss their shots. You can dodge every single projectile in this game. Tip number 4, always try to land your first shot. Whether you're a high ranked player, low ranked player, or a casual player, I see the same mistakes throughout the entire board. The reason being is because a lot of the times people will treat this game like it's a hit scan game. When someone says a weapon is hit scan, that means that as soon as you press that trigger, it hits. Whereas with a game like this, there's travel time. So when something takes time to get to your opponent, they can just move out the way. This is why it's important to always try to land your first shot. When players don't land their first shots, the person you're shooting at will move and you'll try to follow them, right? And because that first shot didn't hit, now all your shots are playing catch up. You don't want to do that. You want to land your first shot so when they start moving, all your shots should still connect to that shot when you're moving your character to aim and start shooting them. You'll know you'll be able to land your shot when you see a little yellow circle around the enemy character. When you're playing Mel T, this is something that you'll always see, but for the other characters, you do need to be in range to see that target. Now, I do understand that's not something you can always do, but if you want to get better at aiming, try your best to let that yellow thing appear because that's going to let you know you're in range to take your shot. And if you can land that first shot, you more than likely are going to be able to eliminate the target before they eliminate you. Tip number 5, it's always best to lead your shots. If you don't lead your shots, you're going to end up missing the player. Remember what I said before, the shots are projectiles. They can be easily dodged. If you shoot at me like this, you're going to do whatever you're going to do and I'll be able to dodge all your shots and take you out. This is a lot of the reason of why you might seem like, oh, I was shooting them and they killed me first. What the heck? That makes no sense. Well, that's because you didn't land your shots. They're easy to dodge. So you want to keep that in mind. If you lead your shot, however, let's just say if the person was right there where that circle is, right? Instead of me shooting that spot, I will shoot where I think they're going to go. So instead of shooting here, I'm going to shoot a little bit to the right. And as they're trying to run away, well, they're going to run right into my shot. Now, when they're running left or right, I don't need to use my right stick to aim. I'll just move my left stick as my character goes. So let's just say I'm aiming and they're going left. Well, I'll move left with them. And that's all. If they really go far, then obviously start implementing using your stick. But for the most part, once you hit them and they go left or right, just move your character. You don't have to go like this or go like that. It's going to cause you to miss your shot, especially if you're up close playing like Agito or Soa. So I highly recommend that you lead your shots. That's not even a recommendation. You need to lead your shots or you will miss targets. But I do highly recommend moving your character rather than moving the stick. Try it out, see if it's for you, but you know, still always lead your shots. That's the best way you're going to be able to hit people. Tip number 6, based off your character, you're going to need to be a set distance away from your target for it to actually hit the target. So let's use Agito as an example. You see the arc. It's kind of the same as Ravebreaker. You know, it's the same distance. Okay, and it goes the same distance. However, Agito's damage fall off is insane compared to a Ravebreaker. So actually, I will do no damage with this right here, and it's going to take me a lot more shots. But if I'm closer, if I'm like right here where I'm trying to shoot, I can probably get them in about 1 or 2 shots. And that's the bright side of Agito. He's very strong, but you still have to keep in mind he doesn't do that well from a distance. And that goes for every single character. Every single character has a different set range for when they're effective versus when they're not effective. Mel T is another example. She's better further away than she is at close range. Once you play your character a little bit more, you will be able to understand which distance is best. I also plan to do character guides later on, so let me know in the comments down below if that's something you guys want to see. The best way to get used to your character's distance is remember to see that little yellow circle pop up. Once that circle pops up, that's your effective range. Tip number 7, almost every character needs to put 7 shots into the opponent for them to be foamed up, with the exception of Agito and Jet. Agito needs 2, Jet needs 3. So whenever you play those 2, that's what you need. But you need 7 shots. Now you might be thinking, well, the Barissador and Ravebreaker don't have shots. That doesn't make sense. They have hose. They're a hose weapon character. Well, if you take a shot, you'll notice it's still a bullet. Again, every character takes 7 bullets. So although you might not see bullets, it's coded as bullets. This is why you hear the pop, 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 pop when you shoot somebody, whether it be with Soa or with Ravebreaker. They have the same sound effect, and I've tested this. So it's the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every character needs to land 7 shots in order to take down their opponent, unless you are Agito or Jet Justice. You will need 2 for Agito and 3 for Jet Justice. This is not the charged ability, just his regular shotgun shot. And with that, I hope your aiming becomes immaculate. I hope you start taking down other Foamstars like it's nothing. Make sure you suds up that like button if this video helped you so that it can help other Foamstar players. And until next time, you know what I always say. Think you guys are doing what? Popping often. Will often.